Okay, good morning and welcome to Shiva YouTube, Iyun with Benzion. Today's daf is Nazir daf Chav Beis. Again, the Gemara keeps on discussing the same thing, rehashing the same idea. Baal, Ma'akar, Akar, Megas, guys. How does Zafaris Nadarim or is Zafaris Nazirus work? Nazirus is also a type of another. How does it work? So the Gemara keeps on discussing, and the Gemara in Chav Beis and Aleph seems to bring up Brisa, right? Ha'isha Shanadra ben Nazir, the top line of Chav Beis and Aleph, Nitme, she became Tmeya. Her husband heard about it that day after she came to me. I was made for the Naziros. She brings a partial carbon. Not olasov. Normally, when you come to me, you bring three carbonos. And asham. Here, since he's saying only bring one. So the Gemara says, how do we make sense of this? If you'll say the Hafara uprooted it originally, Ma'akar, she brings nothing. If he's just doing it right now, Mikan Ba, so you should bring all the karbanos, probably including an asham also. So how do you understand this price? So the Gemara is really ma'akar, really uproot. So the reason you bring the chatas off is because the price accords Reza Kapar. Reza Kapar says that it's a sin to mitzvah yourself from wine. To cause yourself pain, not to be able to drink alcohol or wine, is painful. And you did an Aveira over there for accepting the zeros upon yourself, not necessarily becoming Tmeya, for accepting the zeros upon yourself. And therefore it's justification to bring a chatas off. Now, this is very strange because a chatas off is you have to be makdish chatas off. You have to bring it as a carbon. There's a concept in being chulin lazara. According to some Tanoim, you're chayav karesh for bringing chulin lazara. Unless there's a justification to be makdish something, you're chayav a chatas. You can't bring a chatas unless you did an avera. Bad. It's like he compares it to someone taking a fast upon himself. You're causing yourself pain. Is that an avera that warrants you bring a carbon? It's not like doing malacha on Shabbos, b'shogeg. You didn't do anything wrong over here, right? Ma'akar akar. So how do we understand this? You legitimately can bring a chatas. It's not called chulun azara. The second question over here is the Gemara has another proof that really it's not ma'akar by Faras and Dharm. It's actually megas gayas. The Gemara towards the bottom of Bezim and Aleph. Tashma Tanya behedya. Isha shenadra v'nazir. Shana chaverta v'amravani. Uba ba'ila shal rishona v'hefer lahim uteretz chaverta asura. Shravi na bal megas gayas. The Gemara proves, right? She takes in Naziros, and her friend, another woman, takes in Naziros based on her bani. And then the husband of the first one's Mayfair. So the first woman is Buteris because it was Mayfair and Naziros. The second woman, who's dependent on the first woman, she's Asura. She's still Asura. So you see, Mega's guy, if it was Ma'akar, so then she completely, right? The second one, Naziros, is also Batel, it's also nullified because it was dependent on the first one. And she never had a Naziros, Mitchila. Must be that he's doing it Mikan Laba. So what's going on? Right, Archko tries to figure this out. Right, what do we hold? I mean, the Gemara has been proved many times Ma'akar or Miklish Kolus, like the Gemara says in Adarim. Here, the Gemara seems to prove Megas guys, and the Gemara continues without trying to figure out why the Gemara just said before Ma'akar, and now it says Megas guys. Here, the Archko says this price, that which maintains the revocation by a husband, severs the force of his wife's vow. Henceforth, apparently contradicts the previous price, from which the Gemara proved that the revocation is effective retroactively. It is possible these two brises represent two sides of a Tanaic dispute. Alternatively, either the two Tanoim. Alternatively, the two brises may be reconciled as follows. Both agree that a revocation is effective only henceforth. The reason the first brise rules the woman is exempt from bringing tumah offerings is that Nazir does not bring tumah offerings unless he will resume his Naziris. This is derived from the verse, V'hizir la Sheves in Israel. In the case of the first brise, the woman will not resume her Naziris because it's been revoked. Therefore, she does not bring the tumah offerings. Okay, I don't know. I don't understand. The first explanation, they say it's two different opinions. One opinion holds Ma'akar and one opinion holds Megas guys. You can have Tanoim arguing about svaras like that, about reasonings like that. The second answer I don't really understand, but I will give you my explanation of what's going on here as follows to answer both of these questions. For example, like I said, Ma'akar is another way of saying Miklish College. I don't believe Hafaras Adarm uproots a neder, like it never took, a Naziris, like it never happened. The way Hataras Nadarim is completely undoing it. You're a matter, you're untying the neder. It never happened. You just do that through a Pesach. You say, if I would have known, I never would have taken the neder on myself. It's a neder betos. Neder never took effect. Even Charata, when you're matter Charata, the person regrets right now. So therefore, Chazal through the base and have the ability to uproot the neder retroactively. I don't think Hafaras Nadarim works that way. The word Hafar is to block something. When you block something in the Torah, it doesn't mean you revoke the Torah. Hashem says not to write down the oral Torah. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said, you're made for the Torah. You block the Torah. Right now, you don't listen to the Torah. It doesn't mean in the future we won't listen to the Torah. Right now, with an Eis L'Asas Hashem, it doesn't mean you abrogated something in the Torah. You can't abrogate something in the Torah. You can't nullify something from the Torah. You can block something temporarily, right? Takana Rabbeinu Gershom, you can do that temporarily, but you can't do it forever. So the Torah is eternal. So that's what afara means, to block the net. Even if you say ma'akar akar, that he blocked it, I explain that means b'shas amira. He weakened her words. When he weakened her words, she says I'm a nazira, right? So you weaken the words. There's no isra on her chefsa, on her crown, just on her crown, on her head. And also, I think it weakens also the shvuah. I've explained there's two types of naziros. The naziros on the head of the person, on the chefsa of the person. And then there's naziros, like you take a naziros bebeis akvaros, where obviously it's not a full naziros because you're currently tameh. However, it does provide like a shvuah, the isurim of naziros on the gabra. It's like the person said, I'm not going to drink wine. A shvuah, I'm not going to tell on the mason. All three shvuahs were accepted on the person, but the Torah shvuah is her gabra, not Torah is her chefsa. I do believe it weakens both of them because the halacha is doesn't get malchus. That's what the Gemara says. Once you say mikdash kolish, there's no malchus for that. There's no malchus. Once you say mikdash kolish, it ruins the amira, both the amira of Isra Chefsa and the Isra Gavra of Shua. However, there is a third type of Isra by Naziris. And for example, like you say in Taras and Zara before Rosh Hashanah, right? If you're Makabala Belev, right? Shvua doesn't have to be through amira. Even if you're Makabal Belev, right? You accept upon yourself in your heart you want to do it. And then you act, you do a mitzvah, you plan on doing a mitzvah, or you plan on answering something yourself, and then you're knowing that you act it out, a couple, 2 or 3 times, or for a certain amount of time. So it is binding already, B'Torah's Neder, or B'Torah Shvuah at least, is binding. And the same thing over here. He weakens the words. The words are gone, but the Kabbalah believes she wanted to be in Nazirah. So she was Makabel, not just through her mouth, but also in her heart she wanted to be Nazirah. So you block the words, you weaken the words are gone. However, the Nazirus, because she went ahead and she took the Nazirus, and then she acted in Nazirus, and she became Tmeya before he was Mayfair, so therefore, she violated that. Now, it doesn't warrant Malchus, because the Malchus has to be for a Shvuah with Amira. You can't get Malchus if you didn't say something. I don't believe there's Malchus from a Makabel something in your heart, and you do that, you forbid something upon yourself. There's no Malchus for that. However, there is a concept of Nazirus over here. And since there's a concept of Nazirus, by acting out in Nazirus, Kabbalah believe acting out in Nazirus, so therefore, Elishak Kapar says that just like a Nazir Tahor, right? A Nazir who accepts Nazirus, he doesn't come Tameh, and he brings a Korban Chatas at the end, right? Why is he bringing a Korban Chatas? Because Tir Atzam and Iyun, he didn't violate the Nazir, he didn't do anything wrong. He just was makabel in Nazirus and acted out the Nazirus, and that's an Avera according to Elishak Kapar for a Nazir Tahor, or even for a Nazir Tahor. And he has to bring a Korban Chatas at the end. So the Chatas Oath is really the same thing as for a Nazir Tahor by acting out the Nazirus, makabel Nazirus. And this would explain also, even the Gemara says from the Brisa on the bottom of Bezim and Aleph, Megas Gaius, right? The explanation is as follows, right? Megas Gaius means that he cuts away the nether, but it's not removing what the Gemara previously said, Ma'akar Akar, right? When she took the Nazirus and her friend said Vani, so even though the Baal is Mayfair and it seems Megas Gaius, I don't think the Gemara is literal when it says Megas Gaius over here. Her friend took the Nazirah. What we learned yesterday, Vani is accepting the Isra Chefsa. She's already a Nazirah. She's an Isra Chefsa on her head to be a Nazirah. Her friend's also Vani, an Isra Chefsa. However, when the husband goes ahead and weakens his wife's Nazirah, so therefore he weakened the Isra Chefsa, the Isra Gavra, the Kabbalah Belev, and the fact that she was a Nazirah for a certain amount of time before he was made for the Nazirahs, that's an effect. And she was Makabel by saying, Vani, she's a Makabel in all respects. Right, not just Isra Chefs, not just Isra Gavra, but also the Kabbalah Belev and the acting on the Naziris. So her friend is, when she says Vani, accepts all of them, and the Baal only weakened 2 out of 3, but the other one remains. So therefore, when he's made for his wife's Naziris, he's Mikdash Kolish, he only weakens it. He doesn't remove, he does not uproot the entire Naziris. So her Kabbalah Belev still exists, and that transfers to the second person as a Kabbalah Belev. So the second person therefore is Asura. Now, if she's Asura, she can't be Asura in terms of Isra Gavra, Isra Chefsa. She could be Asura in terms of the Kabbalah Belev, and therefore she can't become Tmeya, Medin Neder, or Medin Kabbalah Belev. Whether that's Del Rice or Del Rabbanon, we'll have to discuss at a different time, but there is a concept of the Shvuah, you're Makabal something Belev, and then you're Noheg, you're on Hagav, or Mitzvah, or Hagav, and Isser. So therefore, in that respect, she's Asura. It's not Asura, you get Malchus for that, but she's Asura in terms of the Kabbalah Belev. That's what I think the explanation is, the correct explanation. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.